Well, there is no better sight than to see an express entry draw announcement on the IRCC website, especially when they have been, keeping us waiting for such a long time. So you can imagine the surprise, you can imagine the shock, because obviously today is not a typical draw day, since they conduct their draws after every 2 weeks. The last one was expected on the 4th of January, which didn't happen. But today, imagine the surprise when they actually did conduct a draw. So, hurrah on that. Thank you, IRCC. Finally, the new year has arrived. A bit too late, but it's here. Welcome to the channel. My name is Kuber. I'm a CICC licensed immigration consultant, and I'm back here to bring you, if you already don't know about it, then express entry draw update. Well, it has happened today, and thankfully, finally, IRCC did manage to conduct the first draw of 2023. Excited, very excited, for the reason because it's been 50 days. That's basically what we have here. Is it right? Yes. 50 days since the last express entry draw, which was on the 23rd of November. We expected a draw on the 7th of December, didn't happen. We expected a draw the 21st of December, didn't happen. We expected, really counting our stars and hoping and praying, for another express entry draw on the 4th of January, didn't happen. Obviously, the reason that we have been told was because of all the glitches that express entry system was facing because of the NOC system changes from NOC 2016 to tier system, which is NOC 2021. Hopefully, thankfully, fingers crossed, I hope there are no more glitches. All those glitches should have been sorted out. And finally, IRCC has come back and conducted their draw. So let's get into the details here for the, before we lose out on that. So express entry draw conducted today, or let's, actually go to the website itself. You should have the link in the description if you haven't already seen it. 11th of January, 2023, draw number 237, 5,500 invitations, as you already know. And the CRS score, which is a bit too high, but then we expected that, 507. Let's get to more detailed analysis here. Right. So express entry draw finally happened. I love that building there. That's downtown Toronto. Right. So 507. Well, we obviously did anticipate, we did expect that the scores will go up because of the big gap of 50 days. This is the first draw of 2023, draw number 237, 11th of January today. Total number of invitations issued 5,500. This was an all program draw, and the tiebreaker applied to scores of 507, which were created on or after December the 6th at 11 a.m. UTC. And if you are one of those people whose score was 507, but you created your profile after the 6th of December, 11 a.m. UTC, then you were not included in the draw. Everybody else whose score was more than 507 was, of course, included in the draw and would receive their invitations, if they haven't got it already, within 24 hours. So don't freak out if you don't have it already. You will get it. Sometimes the machines churn a bit slow. This is the interesting bit. The CRS score distribution of candidates in the express entry pool. Before we get into that, why is it very interesting? And I'll tell you why. This is the first time IRCC has actually given us the pool description or the pool breakdown on the day of the draw itself. So basically, usually what happens is when they started announcing the pool breakdown, they used to announce it, or rather the pool breakdown that was available to us was 5 days prior to the draw. Then it came down to 3 days, then it came down to 2 days. Now we have as of today. So this pool breakdown that you're seeing on your screen is as of today morning, but before the draw was conducted. So this basically gives us a much more realistic picture. Between 601 to 1200, there were 2,995 people. Again, no surprises there. Obviously, with a gap of 3 draws, you would expect a lot of people who had received their nomination, who were sitting in the pool waiting with scores of 600 plus. So there are approximately 3,000 of them, which is fairly a correct number because we are almost 3.5 draw later in terms of timeline. 501 to 600, 3,897. I'm actually glad to see this number is not very big. And the reason why I'm saying this number is not very big is because earlier, draw to draw, So when I'm saying draw to draw, I basically means between 2 weeks, we had seen this number to be much more higher. It was roughly 1,500, sometimes 2,000 people with scores more than 501 to 600, which basically means this time it could have well been over 5 to 5,500. Thankfully, it's only at about 3,897, so roughly 4,000 people. So honestly speaking, it's not that bad. So don't freak out when you see a score of 507. I will explain to you why it's not so bad. Let's get to that. And then the scores, or rather the pool breakdown between 491 to 500, the number of people over there is 3,141. Again, that number is not too bad, and I will show you why that number is not too bad. But between 481 to 490, that number has gone up, 11,783. So almost 12,000 profiles there. 471 to 480, there's no point of even talking about that number at this point of time, because it's a really far stretch at this point. But there are 20,000 people in the express entry pool with the scores of 471 plus. The reason why I'm saying this number is not too bad, and look at this one. This pool breakdown is as of the 22nd of November, which was one day before the last draw. The last draw happened on the 23rd of November when they had a score of 491. There were 876 people with a score of 601. These are all provincial nominees. So obviously they were all cleared out after the draw happened. There were 1,227 people with score of 500 plus, obviously also cleared out after the draw happened on 23rd. Look at the number 491 to 500. There were 3,031. Obviously, a lot of them were cleared out because we only had about 300 or 500 people left after the draw happened. But now if you see here, it's still 3,141. So basically what it means, in the last 50 days, the number of people who got added between 491 to 500 was about 2,600, 2,650 people. Not too many there. If you see the total number, the biggest sort of the number that has entered into the pool is between 501 to 600. That number still is quite high in terms of how many people get added. We all wonder, how do these people score 500 plus? Well, again, for people who do not know, you can very easily score 500 if you have completed your master's degree in Canada. You're of the age 29 or less. Your IELTS scores are CLB 9, CLB 10. You have 3 years of work experience outside Canada, 1 year of experience inside Canada. Voila, you are very easily into the 500 plus bracket. Also, for example, if you have French speaking skills, right? So if you're a francophone or you're bilingual, again, your scores can very quickly go above 500. If you have a job offer, LMIAs, or if you are an ICT work permit holder or a closed work permit holder, but you have completed your 1 year work experience in Canada, again, you can very quickly go above the score of 500. So, 3,897 number is big, but I'm not all that surprised. But let's move forward and see this again. Between the 22nd of November 2022 and between this particular one, which is 11th of January, do you see any other number? Between 481 to 490, again, take a look at that, the one in orange, 11,783 now and 10,517 50 days back. And that number hasn't sort of, so there are no draws in that group. So, there is an increase of only 1,000 people. Only 1,000 people increase between 481 to 490. But between 501 to 600, 3,897. Between 491 to 500, 3,141. Big numbers with big scores. Tells you a lot about how many people are getting job offers, how many people are upgrading their language skills, how many people are adding French on their second language, how many people are graduating with master's degree, completing their 1 year experience in Canada, and voila, they are the ones who are actually coming through with this high scores. Let's move on further. Key analysis points as of 11th of January, and I'm sure a lot of you who are asking so many questions about different score points and what's going to happen. So, this will give you a bit more understanding as well. The draw on draw. So the draw on draw basically means from between the last draw and this draw, what has been the changes. Number of profiles that were increased between 500 plus. So 500 plus, how many people got added up? 6,892. This includes the PNPs as well. So that was the number of people who got added with score of 500 plus. The remaining number of people in the express entry pool with 500 plus as of now, sorry, that shouldn't be 500. Yes, 500 plus as of now would be 1,392. How did we get this number? If you subtract 6892 minus 5,500, which was the number of invitations that were issued, the remaining number is 1,392. That is the number of profiles which is still in the express entry pool with score of 500 plus. Now we come to the estimates and guesstimates and speculation. Will there be a draw next week? Now, I am so looking forward to that, because I'm just hoping and praying that IRCC actually does something nice this time and, conducts a draw next week as well, which will be again on the 18th of January. Now, this will be a back-to-back draw. And if it's a back-to-back draw, which basically means not too many, you will not see a big difference in the number of profiles getting added, because it's only 1 week. We have suffered the last 50 days. It's only fair that IRCC conducts a draw next week, giving a big, huge breather to a lot of people who want to see the scores dropping below 490. Therefore, what I am expecting or what I'm anticipating is, and I will tell you the reason why with the numbers as well. Just give me 1 minute here, coming back to this one. If the draw happens next week, which is 18th of January, I'm hoping at least 5,000 invitations, if not more. If it is 5,500 invitations, that will be great. But even if it is between 4,750 to 5,000 invitations, I would expect the scores to actually drop drastically versus what we have seen earlier. From 507 this time, it can actually go down to between 493 to 495. And why am I saying it can drop this much? It's pretty simple mathematics. 1,392 people with scores of 500 plus, nearly 3,000 people with score of 491 plus. We haven't seen a lot of people adding into the pool with 491 and to 500 score. So you have roughly 4,392 or 4,500 people in the pool with 491 plus. Now, within the next 1 week, even if another 1,000 to 1,500 people, including the PNPs, including the 500 score, add into the express entry pool, that will make the total number to about 6,000 to 6,500. And if IRCC does come out and issue 5,000 invitations for the next draw in 1 week, the scores can come back to within the the last range of 491. So you're looking at a 493 to 495 draw score. From there on, again, if we go back to the regular schedule of a draw every 2 weeks, then I'm quite excited and I'm hopeful again, because I always remain forever hopeful, to see the scores can actually drop below 490 by February 2023. Realistic? The numbers are saying it. I'm not the one who's saying it. The numbers are saying it. Obviously, the assumption is the number of draws or the number of invitations per draw, that should continue. The assumption is, of course, that I hope that the draw happens next week. But even if it doesn't happen next week, let's say IRCC has changed the schedule. Now, instead of the draws happening on the 4th and the 18th for this month, now it will happen. Today is the 11th. So the next draw could possibly happen on the 25th of January. Even if the scores or even if the draws were to happen on the 25th of January, which is 2 weeks later, even then, I anticipate or I expect the scores would be in the range of 495 to 498, within that range. It will still drop below 500. That is the anticipation, primarily because the scores above 500 in the express entry pool as of now is only 1,392. Even if about 2,500 plus profiles get added, or even 3,000 profiles get added into the express entry pool, you will still see the scores dropping below 500 in the next draw, whether it happens next week or whether it happens the week after. Definitely the scores are dropping below 500. At least that's what the numbers suggest. As I said, a lot depends on how many invitations. Because of this 50 days hiatus, the expectation is that they would, at least now for the next few draws, continue with the 5,000-ish, hopefully, kind of a draw. But again, while I'm saying that they would issue, or rather hoping that they would issue this 5,000, 5,500 kind of a draw, we all must also bear in mind that IRCC will not always issue such large number of invitations. And the reason why I'm saying this is, if they have to issue 5,000 invitations every single draw, then multiply that by 25 draws, that means 125,000 invitations. If they can, so if they sort of have 25 draws in this year, if they issue 5,000 draws every draw, 5,000 invitations every draw, that means 125,000 invitations, which is technically not possible, logically not possible, because the quota for this year and the next year do not add up for that many invitations. Therefore, at some point of time, the number of invitations will drop. It will drop to below 4,000 at some point of time. I do not know when that will happen. And whenever that happens, that will obviously squeeze the scores. But until that happens, let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's pray and hope all of us together send out that positive energy out into the universe and hope that IRCC listens and continues to issue big sizes of the invitations in the draw. But let's look at the future trends, what we are expecting. Invitations issued in 2023 as of now, because it's only the first draw, 5,500. We'll keep updating this as we go forward. The average number of invitations that are to be issued in 2023, my guesstimate, my speculation, my expectation is about 70,000. And the reason why I anticipate 70,000, and I will give it to you very, very quickly. The quota for 2023 is 82,880 for federal high skill, which is the express entry, plus 20,000. 20,000 is the PNPs. Now, I know, and I will show this to you. Here we go. This is the annual immigration target plans. As you can see, under 2023, 82,880 is the target for 2023. As you scroll down, you'll see provincial nominee programs will show you 105,000, 105,500. However, that is all quotas for all PNPs. Express entry linked numbers are always approximately between 18% to 20% of the total quota. You do not see everybody coming through the express entry. It's only about 18% to 20% are linked to express entry. Everything else is non-express entry. So you will see roughly about 100,000 plus total number of people. And let's come back to this. So 82,880 plus 20,000. So that's roughly the number of people quota for 2023 that will go through express entry. Now, assuming a portion of these quotas have already been issued ITAs, because you keep in mind that there's a 6 months processing time. 6 months processing time means people who would be landing in Canada this year, a lot of them have already been issued their invitation based on all the ITAs that have been issued in the last year. So therefore, keeping all these numbers and targets in mind, my average is 70,000 invitations for 2023. I do calculate the PNPs. I do calculate the number of people who decline their ITAs. That's approximately, the number of people who decline their ITAs, people whose applications get rejected under R10 and people whose applications get refused, but that happens later on. That's roughly 30 to 33%. Plus one ITA equals to roughly 2.23 people. And keeping all these numbers in mind and all these calculations in mind, my anticipation, my expectation for this year, the number of ITAs to be issued is roughly 70,000. If it is going to be 70,000, obviously IRCC cannot continue with the 5,000 invitations per draw. So hoping that they maintain that at least to start with until Bill C-19 starts, and then the whole new story will start altogether. So the remaining draws in the year 2023 at this point of time, obviously, is between 23 to 25 draws. That's what we expect. Bill C-19 implementation is post-spring. That is what IRCC has indicated through some of its publications, where they said that their IT systems will be ready by spring. If IRCC systems, you have to believe or you have to have faith, then you should know by now that you cannot have any faith in IRCC systems or anything that they do with their IT processes. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But going by whatever they are saying and going by their estimates, you're looking at roughly April, May-ish by the time the Bill C-19 implementation happens. And even if that happens, and we have already discussed this, I think I did a video about a couple of days back where I've showed you that IRCC has said that they will continue with the express entry draws. They will continue with the regular express entry draws in addition to the Bill C-19. So the Bill C-19 category-based draws will be a portion. It will comprise a portion of the actual draws, and the draws under the regular express entry will continue, will remain. That, my friends, is the pool breakdown. That, my friends, is the analysis of what's happening. I'm excited. I was very happy to see 5,500 invitations. That gives me a lot of hope to anticipate and to expect, that the scores will actually drop below 490, just the way we were expecting, sooner than later. So my expectation is by February, you should see scores into 480s. That is what we are really pinning our hopes on. And once it comes into 480s, and if they continue with 5,000 kind of invitations, at least for few draws, if they continue with 5,000 invitations even until March, that would be great, because you will see lower 480s coming into play. Okay. And that is what we are really hoping for. But also keep in mind that the number of profiles above 500, which has always been a bit of a concern for people who are on the lower scores, that is still reasonably high. And as long as more people with scores of 400, as long as more people with scores of 500 plus, scores of 490 plus keep getting added into the pool, it puts that much pressure on the express entry draws for the scores to know how quickly they will go below within the 480s. But at this point of time, 480s is definitely looking possible. It's definitely looking up for February. By March, mid 480s, by end March, early April, you could even see low 480s being touched. And that's what we're looking forward to. At this point of time, within 470s, that is a bit of a far stretch. Let's see how quickly we get to that. As and how we move forward, obviously, we will keep updating you with how things are going. But at this point of time, I'm excited. I hope you are as well. Let me know in the comments what your score is, what you are anticipating, what you are expecting, and that would be great. Thank you so much for joining in. This was a very quick one. Just wanted to sort of share my opinion with you as to what I think express entry is looking like. I will sleep better tonight. Wish you all the best. See you later, and pray for the express entry so that these scores can come down sooner than later, and everybody else who's been waiting with so much of stress and anxiety can get their ITAs. If you're getting an ITA, don't be in a rush to decline. Don't be in a rush to sort of submit your application quickly and make a mistake. These ITAs have now become very precious. Before you decline, be very careful, because you never know what IRCC is planning next. That's all from me. Stay safe, take care, and good night.